Every reality, every dimension is sustained by a complex energy grid. The type of reality enjoyed depends upon its frequency, vibration, and how it is charged, negative, positive, and even neutral in conjunction with the degrees of polarity. Gaia and all events are governed by this complex energy grid. You are governed by this grid, but this is changing. As your consciousness evolves while you are in human form, your vibration, your frequency rises and changes. As your frequency, your vibration reaches a certain higher stable point, it starts to have a stronger effect on the overall complex energy grid that sustains the reality for everything and the sentient beings around you. The old 3D operated on a set of frequencies, that once the limitations of these frequencies were surpassed to the higher side, the frequency became 4D. Upon a stabilized 4D frequency for Gaia being sustained, universal law in regards to what is allowed to play out, experiences, and what prowess may be enjoyed by certain souls, also changes. So as you grew in consciousness and in frequency, you also affected the entire frequency of Gaia to change, as well as the complex energy grid, from a 3D frequency, to a 4D frequency. You have mainly been in a 4D frequency, since 2012. Some of you have had 5D trips, to bring back experience and knowledge of that higher frequency, to assist and propel others forward, closer to the 5D. Everything written on the old 3D complex energy grid, will not apply to the 5D grid. Explanations and accepted sacred geometry will not apply to the 5D grid. The new 5D grid operates on different geometry that will go well outside of any prior written information on ley lines, etc. This is because, to sustain a reality at a higher frequency, the whole dynamic structure of an existing grid must change. This means, that old 3D ley lines etc., will no longer be in the same places upon Gaia, as well as a totally new array of electromagnetics are and will be established, to sustain the 5D anchors. The 5D grid, where you will reside upon, while still on Gaia, is complete enough now to sustain new and mostly all current life upon her. As consciousness and frequency raises, it becomes compatible with 5D, and therefore, 5D timelines are set up and secured. Each one of you has contributed in making this possible. There were and are ones among you, that were responsible for laying the foundation for this transition. These ones learned and trained, at divine levels, while still in human form, to assist others and humanity forward as a whole. As a result, the more empowered you became, your frequency rose, and became stronger than the stabilized frequency of the old 3D grid, allowing you and others to affect and transition the entire grid to 4D with fluctuations into 5D. The stronger you become, and as more are awakened and raise their frequencies, the more sustainable a full 5D existence, will be. You now know, that you affect the complex energy grid that determines what dimensional timelines you enjoy as a whole. You affect the energy grid in several ways, mentally, physically, and consciously. The full allowable effect you may have is always overseen by divine counsel. Having said this, you have the ability to direct and focus your energy consciously, to any specific point on Gaia. This is important and leads us to the upcoming activation on Wednesday. We encourage and request that your thoughts be directed and focused to the activation areas, with the intent to anchor as much of the 5D frequency, into this now. Your intent will come from your pure light hearts, of all that is good for humanity, and set the frequency for humanity to evolve beyond war, poverty, enslavement, etc. Wish hard on the great good change you wish to see develop promptly for humanity, and wish to transition into 5D. This is a collective effort to once again raise the entire frequency of Gaia higher. Love and light, Rick.